Matt, what's that book you're reading?
Oh, hey Loise, I'm reading about entomology.
Entomology, something to do with insects. Ah, the branch of zoology that deals with insects, right? Ugh, I don't like mosquitoes and all those insect pests.
But hey, did you know that less than 5% of insect species are pests? And there are so many of them. Insects make up 2/3 of the 1.5 million species of organisms on the planet.
So you mean like most of them are beneficial? Like how?
Keep your questions on hold for now. Because in today's episode, we're exploring the fascinating world of insects and revealing their crucial role in the ecosystem. Get ready for some intriguing insights.
Wow, that sounds very interesting and I'm really excited to learn. Hello everyone, welcome to Youth in Agri Talk Show!
We're on a mission to make agriculture as cool as it gets. Our goal is to spice up the world of farming, making it not just interesting, but downright sexy. We're all about bringing the excitement and relevance of agriculture to students in basic education.
So get ready to ignite your passion,
Spark your interest,
and dive into the thrilling world of agriculture with us on this episode on Winged Warriors,
the unsung heroes of Agriland.
So Matt, our first episode was a resounding success, drawing over 46,000 viewers during the live stream. The outpouring of positive feedback and reactions overwhelmed us and filled our hearts with joy.
And with that, we'd like to thank our viewers and followers. Hello, our students from Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines, and the rest of the world. We hope that you will continue supporting our show. Thank you for following our channel and sharing this video.
Did you learn a lot from our last episode? We talked about climate change, crop rotation, hydroponics. What else did I miss?
Well, we also had a fun time discussing agri-robotics, tissue-cultured seedlings, and biotechnology in plants. If any of you missed that episode, you can still watch it on our Facebook page and YouTube channels.
If those topics got you interested in agriculture, I'm sure you will find this episode's topic to be equally fascinating.
Loise, your earlier reaction to insects is the same as the most kids. But do you know that many insects help farmers grow their gardens? And in today's episode of Youth in Agri Talk Show, we invited a special guest who could enlighten us more on the benefits of insects in farming.
Yes, a very special guest indeed, as she is an entomologist and an expert on insects. She has a PhD and MS degrees in entomology and a Bachelor of Science in Zoology at the University Kebangsaan, Malaysia. She was a former Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture at the University Putra, Malaysia, where she was involved in student development and review of academic programs.
In 2018, she established her professional experience in Paris, France, as a Malaysian representative of regional and sub-regional assessments of biodiversity and ecosystem. Let's welcome our special guest for today's episode, the Deputy Director for Programs of SEARCA, Dr. Nur Azura Adam. Welcome to the show, Dr. Nur.
Hello, Loise. Hello, Matt. And hello to all our viewers. Thank you for inviting me to the show to talk about something that I'm really passionate about and also to share with our viewers to explore together the wonderful world of friendly insects.
Dr. Nur, thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be our special guest for our second episode.
It's my pleasure. I saw the first episode with Dr. Glenn and it was really, really good. So when I received the invitation, I immediately said yes, yes, yes.
That's because you are the subject matter expert on our topic for today. So Dr. Nur, I'm just curious. How and why did you become an entomologist? And can you share with us what you find most fascinating about discovering and studying the world of insects?
Well, that's interesting questions. You know what? Let me bring you back to when I was still young. When I was in the field, when I was looking at the garden, the thing that really fascinated me was to see all the beautiful butterflies, the beetles, and you know, one thing that I really love to play is with the ants. So when I was in my university, one of the interesting courses is the entomology. That is where I found out there's so many things that insects can do. They can be in various kind of ecosystems in the water, in the air, and then don't be surprised, they can even be inside deep sea along with all the petroleum that have there. So you can see that they can survive. And also at the Antarctic and also the Arctic, at the coldest environment. So it really brings me to a certain age that we can see that, wow, I need to study insects. I need to share to the world. And also for the young viewers to know that insects is more than pests.
Thank you, Dr. Nur. Wow, I never thought that there are so many that we can learn and appreciate about insects, and I am so sure that our young viewers are now more curious and eager to learn more about these creatures. So, Dr. Nur, we have here some questions from our young viewers for you. Let's listen to the first question.
How do we differentiate an insect from other colonies?
So cute. All right, let me explain. There is some confusion. Sometimes people would say bugs is insects or insects is bugs. So let me demonstrate to you what is exactly an insect. So you can see here, this is a miniature of an ant. These are three major characteristics of an insect. Number one, 3 body parts, head, thorax, and abdomen, 3 pairs of legs, and also a pair of antennae. So that differentiates an insect from other organisms. Is a spider an insect? So what is the answer? Because spiders have 8 legs, so it is not considered as an insect. So how about wings? People always say that insects have wings. Majority of insects can fly because they have wings, but some of them, they do not have wings. For example, ants, when they're in adult stage, they don't have wings. The hair lice is also an insect. If you look under the microscope, you can see they have 3 pairs of legs, but they do not have wings.
Yes.
And they have also a pair of antennae. So I have here an examples of some organisms. Can you tell me which one is not an insect?
Well, I know that one is not an insect.
Yes, definitely. You can see in the middle one here, it is not an insect. And why do you say that now? Because you can differentiate. An insect only have 3 pairs of legs, and you can see here it is centipede. It has more than 3 pairs of legs. So you can see here all the rest of the example specimen that we have here, insects with 3 pairs of legs.
Thank you for that answer, Dr. Nur. For our next question, let's hear it from this young gentleman.
Are insects good or bad organisms, especially in agriculture?
Well, that is a very interesting question. I think at the beginning of the show, you did mention that only less than 5% of entire insect species are considered pests. It means that more than 95% are beneficial or good insects. They have many roles in the agriculture or in our gardens. So they can play a role as pollinators. They can also play a role as predators. And the last but not least, as parasitoids. In a nutshell, I can say that most insects are beneficial in the ecosystems and also in agriculture.
Wow, our topic is getting more interesting. I'm also learning a lot. And I'm sure that our students from Singapore are very enthusiastic with our discussion. By the way, these young and smart students are from HFSE International School based in Singapore. And we thank the school for accepting our invitation to their students to be part of the show.
We would also like to thank SMK Seri Jempol, Malaysia, for joining us in this episode. And our next question will come from one of their students. Let's watch this.
My question is, how do insects eat?
So insects, they consume two types of food, whether it is a solid food or a liquid food, in a liquid form, okay? So for those insects that consume or feed on solid food, they have different kind of mouth parts. The insect teeth is called mandible, where they can chew the solid materials. Some of them consume on solid food, and they have a very strong teeth, which we call the mandible. And the second one, they consume liquid form. What are the insects that consume liquid? Examples like mosquitoes. And have you ever heard about leaf hopper? So because they have what we call as a needle-like mouth part where they can pierce and suck the liquid from the substrate. And that is what mosquitoes, most of us know, will do. Like the butterflies, right? So they also feed on liquid form, like the nectar, or we call it as the honey. But for butterflies, they also have a long straw that we call it as proboscis. So when they're in use, they will uncoil the proboscis and become very long like a straw and start to suck the nectar from flowers. When they're not in use, they will coil it up again. So that's why if you look closely on a butterfly, you can see the mouth part is actually coiling up. This is why insects are very successful, because they have so many different kinds of mouth parts. They can consume different sources of food in the environment.
Is it safe to assume that insects can be considered as vegetarians?
There's a term for it.
Okay.
We call it herbivorous insects. Majority of insects, I would say, is a herbivorous. They feed on plants. Some of them, they consume other organisms as predators, or maybe also they will become decomposers.
Okay, so really.
Well, at least most of them are herbivores, right?
Yes.
So,
Don't be afraid.
so Dr. Nur and Loise, we may not have enough time if we continue discussing each insect. As I mentioned earlier, there are hundreds of thousands of them. Do not scroll up, stay tuned to our channel. When we come back, we will learn more about the 3 beneficial insects.
Welcome back, everyone. To those who have just tuned in, you are watching Youth in Agri Talk Show. Before we continue with our last question from our young viewers, we want to show you some pictures of insects. And Dr. Nur, please tell us how they are considered beneficial in agriculture. So let's start with picture number 1.
One of the important beneficial insects in the agriculture sector is insect as predator. They consume directly other organisms. One of the examples is the ladybugs. Ladybugs is actually a beetles. I think everybody knows that. It's beautiful colors, and normally they are red in color with spots. So majority of them are good insects, beneficial insects, we call it predator. They will help to regulate the population of the pests. For example, ladybugs, they feed on one insects organisms that we call as aphids. And aphids is known to be a major pest for many kinds of crops or plants. So by being a predator, the ladybugs will feed, they will consume directly these pests. And these are how they can regulate the population of the pests, helping the farmers, helping the gardener to control the population in their garden or in their farm. That's why we should be very thankful to the ladybugs if you see them in our farm or in our garden.
Ooh, that is just amazing. And thank you, Dr. Nur. I think the predators are very popular among children, as these are common visitors of our garden. To continue with our next insect, here it is.
I think most of us know this is examples of a bee, right? When you talk about a bee, you know that the function is as a pollinator. Yes. So what is it so special? Why we need pollinators in our garden, in our farm? Okay, because they help us to pollinate the flowers in order to produce fruits.
Kids, now that we know how beneficial bees and other pollinators are to our environment, the next time you see one, I know they can be terrifying. Try not to be afraid and do not harm them. Please do not harm them.
Whoa, that's just cool. Now I'm convinced that the world of insects is indeed fascinating. Dr. Nur, for this next insect, I'm sure many kids are scared of this one. Let's check this out.
Can you guys guess what is this insect? So actually there are two species here. If you can see, in the middle is a caterpillar.
Okay.
And you can see coming out from the caterpillar. So this is exactly what a parasitoid is.
Oh, okay.
A parasitoid is an insect that lives inside other organisms, partially from partially from their entire life cycles.
Okay.
And most of the time, which they are still in larva form. So they cannot live outside of the host body. So in order to complete their life cycles, to become adults, they must have a host. The adult parasitoids will lay eggs either on top of the host, in this case it's a caterpillar, or maybe they will also inject and lay their eggs inside, and that is what we call endoparasitoid or the ectoparasitoid, where they lay their eggs outside of the host. So these are amazing creatures that actually helps also to regulate the pests such as the caterpillars.
Okay, so nature has its own pest management system in place.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Dr. Nur. Now we know the 3 types of insects. Just to recap, the predators, pollinators, and parasitoids, and how they are beneficial to the farm and even to the ecosystem.
And now, going back to the students' questions, here's another student from SMK Seri Jempol, Malaysia.
My question is, how can we increase the diversity of the good insect in our garden?
One of the good ways to attract more insects to come, these beneficial insects to come to our farm, to come to our garden, to plant more flowering plants. And at the same time, the most important thing, you can reduce excessive use of hazardous, harmful pesticides.
So thank you very much, Dr. Nur, for a very fascinating discussion on the world of insects. To our viewers, did you learn a lot from our show today? Please comment below what's the most interesting thing that you learned today.
So thank you, Matt and Loise, for this opportunity to share my knowledge with our young viewers. Last but not least, I would say, remember what you learned today. Think that not all insects are bad. Only 5% or less are pests, and most of them have a very significant role in the environment, especially to help us in our plants, in our garden, and in agriculture.
Thank you again, Dr. Nur. And as we wrap up today's buzzworthy adventure, remember that these tiny heroes play a big role in keeping our world balanced. Let's be insect allies, plant some flowers, create insect-friendly spaces, and join us in safeguarding the balance of our ecosystem.
Small steps make a big difference. Until next time, let's keep our gardens buzzing and our planet thriving. We hope that you enjoyed our show, and we hope to see you again on the next episode of
Youth in Agri Talk Show! Bye!
SEARCA remained dedicated to promoting agricultural and rural development in Southeast Asia during the 3rd year of our 11th 5-year plan. SEARCA's work is organized around 3 core programs that targeted 7 priority areas, aligned with the UN SDGs. To achieve our goals, we worked on 5 key fronts. We prioritize providing scholarships and training to cultivate leaders in ARD. The scholarships were funded collaboratively by SEARCA and partner institutions. We also aided scholars in their studies and research dissemination. Furthermore, we supported institutional development of higher education institutions and engaged in multi-country higher education networks. Moreover, SEARCA used innovation to inspire youth involvement in agriculture. We recognized the role of policies in agricultural transformation and conducted extensive research to inform program development and policy support. Our research contributed to creating an enabling environment with farmer-centric policies. SEARCA backed agri-tech solutions to improve approaches at various points in the value chain. We had undertakings that helped boost innovation commercialization in academic and research institutions. Scholarships, research, and innovation grants demonstrated SEARCA's ongoing investment in ARD. Additionally, SEARCA prioritized initiatives that advanced food and nutrition security. The Center valued collaboration in its endeavors, seeking partnerships and fostering knowledge sharing for successful development solutions. SEARCA's solid financial standing, achieved through prudent fiscal management and robust cash flow, was complemented by the exceptional commitment and expertise of its staff, consultants, and senior fellows. We remain committed to helping make Southeast Asia's agri-food sector better, bigger, and smarter.